Hello and welcome to a new Practical Sheets tutorial in Google Sheets. Today we're going to start a new project. It's going to be another inventory system. We've already done two, a basic inventory system and an inventory system for restaurants. Today we're going to start an inventory system for products where there are a lot of references. For example, clothing, where you have the same shirt or the same dress or the same jacket, but you may have it in different sizes, in different colors. So how do we do this? It's very similar to the basic inventory, but I've helped you creating some formulas so you can have a product ID and it will be easier for you to manage and to enter new products and all that. So this is the example. I'm going to sell t-shirts and I can have my t-shirt, I can add new t-shirts, I can have my sizes, I can add new sizes. I'm going to have my colors and I can add new colors. Here it will automatically create with a formula the reference of this t-shirt, and this is the reference we're going to work when we buy new merchandise or goods, when we sell them, and when we do our inventory. So I hope you like it. And before we start with the video, you can support me by subscribing to the channel or going to practicalsheets.com, where you'll find not only the template for this and all the videos in the channel, but complete courses where we go step by step on these practical style projects and on basic concepts of Google Sheets, Google Apps Script, Google Forms, and more. Hope you visited. Now let's go on with the video. So I'm not going to go as slow as in the first inventory video series. It was for you to learn the basics of inventory systems. What I'm going to do in this next series is I'm going to go to specific details depending on the sectors. So I'm going to go much faster in the formulas that we've already used. So let's go for an inventory stock for clothing companies or a reference where you have a lot of variations. In the case of clothing, we're going to have a lot of sizes, a lot of colors, and similar things. This may replicate in other industries where you have, I don't know, a mattress, but the mattress may be twin or maybe king, full size in this type of industries. So as always, I'm going to start with my products. Let's give this a bit of zoom. So there are many ways to do this. There may be the case where you're going to have your particular reference for each product that you've already created somehow, maybe a number, maybe a barcode, whatever. I like to create a second reference that we're going to call Product ID, and I'm going to explain the difference in a bit. Then I'm going to say which is the name of the product. So what we're differencing is the reference versus the product. So the product may be, let's say we're going to sell some t-shirts, as I always like to do, a t-shirt for Rick and Morty. Now, this is where it might get tricky. I may buy to sell some 3 or 4 different references. I may buy a smaller one, a medium one, a large one, and an X. So the product will remain the same. The size may change. And we may even have further factors that we'll assess in a minute. For now, let's say that the color is the same for everyone, black. And that's it. Your reference may be whatever you want. I'm going to be very simple. But where I'm going to focus is in the product ID. The product ID, to be very descriptive, what I'm going to do is just join these 3 fields: product, size, and color. So we're going to do it with a join function. We're going to join with a dash maybe, and we're going to join these 3. That's it. Let's autofill. And now we have, this is the product ID I'm going to be referencing, I'm going to be selecting, this is my basis for my inventory, okay? Now, 2 little adjustments I want to do. The first one is, given that this is a join, I cannot do an array formula. So maybe what we can do is just drag it down a bit. This will have these 2 dashes, I don't like it. So what we could do is do an if error or an if function. We can say that if this C part, the cell C2, equals to empty, then we're going to leave empty the cell. If not, we're going to do the join. So let's drag this down a bit again. And now we have it as I want. Now I'm going to go Control Shift down 2 times and Control D to duplicate my formula. And when I start to add new ones, they will automatically create my product ID. Let's say I have these same sizes, but in white. Okay, maybe this product ID, we can put it here in the back, but actually I'm going to leave it first of all, because this will be, again, the basis for everything, for my VLOOKUPs and everything. So it's easier if we leave it in the first column. Another thing I'm going to create is I'm going to make it easier for you to include new products. Let's say we have a new t-shirt, but it's called t-shirt Stranger Things. Okay, so I don't want to copy and paste. I want to have a more convenient system for this. So I'm going to create my first new tab. I'm going to call this lists. Actually, the first one I should call it something. I'm going to call it products. And let's do some zoom so this looks better, and remove the zoom here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is to do this as a drop down, but the drop down I will bring it from here. So for now, let's bring my 2 products, t-shirt Rick and Morty and t-shirt Stranger Things. Okay, let's call these products. Product name. That is different than the product ID. Okay. Again, I can call a product. I don't know what is the official. I don't work in retail, so I don't know how do you differentiate this from this. I think this is the reference, and this will be the variation. I don't know. Okay. So now I'm going to do here. Actually, let's just put it here for now. Data validation, and then we can drag it down. Data validation, list from a range. Let's choose the list from a range in our lists and go to 822A. Okay, let's not reject the input. We're just going to show a warning. Let's save, and that's it. So here I have my 2 shirts. Now let's drag this down. So I'm going to copy this, do Control Shift down 2 times. Then I'm going to click on Edit, then on Paste Special, then on Data Validation Only. So now in all my rows, I will have t-shirt Rick and Morty and t-shirt Stranger Things. However, what I want to do is that if I add a new one for The Simpsons, I want it to, once I write it the first time, to be able to select it the second time. So it's easier. Now that I know that I have this product name, then I could easily add different sizes, different colors with the same name. So for this, I'm going to do a little trick. I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to put a formula here, just this bracket, and this bracket will go from here, from C2 up to C. Let's close the bracket, and we're going to wrap this in a unique function. Actually, I don't even need the brackets. Just can put unique products C2C, and that's it. So what this is going to do is that for the next one, I could easily add t-shirt The Simpsons. But if I have t-shirt Game of Thrones, then the next one will have all 4. Okay, this is what I wanted to do. And here, again, we could do a drop down of the possible sizes. And the same for the colors. But we're going to do exactly the same thing I just did for the product names. That, let's say, for example, I have a new product that only has XS, but I didn't have XS here. So that I don't have to come back and put it. It's not so rigid. It's a bit more flexible. I can add new options from here, and then they will appear for the next ones. This is the only thing we're doing, okay? So we're going to do the same. Control Shift down 2 times. Data validation. Select data from a range. So we're going to select all these up until the last row. I don't think there are that many sizes, but it doesn't matter. And this, I'm going to do the same I did here. Unique. but for the sizes. So from D2 up to D, and I already have, and now I have them here, so that if this is XS, for example, then for the next one, I do have the option of XS. And the same for the colors. So Control Shift down 2 times, data validation, enter a range. It will be this range again, up to whatever I want. If I think I'm going to have 100 colors in a given moment, well, you can do it. Let's save. And finally, I'll delete this, and I'm going to put a unique function that goes from E2 up to E without a number. So it goes up to the last row. And that's it. So if I write here red, the next one, I'm going to have the 3 options, black, white, and red. And I'm going to increase the possibilities as soon as I get more products with different references. Okay, so here I can add S, and let's add another one here, XL, XXL. And here I'll have white, and here I have yellow. And the product ID is what I wanted more. This is what I really wanted, that the ID updates automatically. Okay, the only thing I'm going to do here is fix this row so that if I go down, I'll always see my product ID. And then let's put this a bold and maybe just a bit of color. That's it. Okay, now I'm going to delete all my columns to the right. I may be needing some other columns in the future of prices, observations, but for now we're going to keep it simple as much as we can. This was the most difficult part. The rest will be quite easy and similar to what we've done in the basic inventory. So we're just going to create our input, in which we have the product ID, and then we have the quantity, bought, and date. That's it. I don't need to bring the product name, the size, the color, maybe the reference, especially if you're going to have some barcodes or something. But if you're going to choose it, to pick it, then I just need the product ID. And the good thing about this product ID is that we built it so that we can easily see the size, the color, and any other attribute you may need. So we don't need any of this. This will serve 2 purposes. The first one for building our product ID, and the second one is that in the future, if I want to see how my Rick and Morty t-shirts are doing, then I don't want to see just the inventory of S, M, L, black, L, white, but I want to see everything related to Rick and Morty. So I can see that maybe I have 100 units in inventory. It doesn't matter the color, the size. So then I can have some metrics and some dashboards where I can see which are the products and the categories that are working the most, that have more inventory, that are selling more, etc. Okay? This is why we should leave this, because this could work in the future for our stats, for our metrics, for our indicators, for our decisions. Okay? So product ID, very easy, as we did in the last time, and as we've done multiple times in this video. We're going to go to data validation. We're going to choose a range, and the range will be my product ID from 2 up to A. This is the last row it finds. Here I can reject the input because I can only have input from the products I've already created in my product list. So here I will have all my t-shirt references. And then I'm just going to say how many quantities I bought or I manufactured. And for this, we could have a data validation. So we're going to go to data validation. We're going to have a data validation that allows round numbers greater than 0. So I could do number between 0 and 100, but it will accept round numbers. So I need to do a custom formula, and the custom formula will be this one. Round down. I'm going to round B2, and I want to know if the rounding is equal to B2. If so, then I know that the number is round. And If so, then I can put the number. Okay, let's hit save and let's try to put 10.5. And I cannot do it, but if I put 9, it's not a problem. Okay, and the only thing I'm missing is that it's greater than 0, because this will work for negative numbers also. So let's do data validation, and we're going to wrap this up in an AND function. So I want two conditions. The first one was the rounding, and the second one will be that B2 is greater than 0. So it will be from 1 up. Let's hit save, and let's put -2. It won't work. 8, it will work. Okay. Finally, we're going to do a data validation for the date. So data validation. This is a great lesson in data validation, this inventory video. We're going to click date, and you could play with the minimum and maximum dates, but it's a valid date. I think it works great for now. Let's hit save. One other thing you could do is here, you could put some messages when people put the data, the wrong data. So we can go to data validation and say show validation help. And we could say, please choose from the available products. And here I can say data, again, data validation. And in my message, I'm going to say, instead of this crazy message, we're going to say, please enter a whole number greater than 0. And finally, here, I think the message is all right. Enter a valid date. So this is not a problem. And the nice thing about the date validation is that if I do double click, then I'll have this nice mini calendar to choose the date. Okay. So now I'm going to copy all of this, Control C, Control Shift down, and then edit, paste special, and data validation only. Okay, so now let's put another color on this. The other one was blue, so this can be green. And let's delete these columns to the right. Again, we may need more columns, but we could add them later. I prefer to start minimal and then add things when we need them. And just to keep the color code, so we could put this blue in the tab also here. And in input, we're going to put this green. Actually, it's really similar to this other one. No, doesn't matter. And now I'm going to duplicate this sheet to create my output. This is my sales. And I'm just going to change this to quantity sold. And everything will work the same. And this, let's put another different color. Let's do yellow. And now we're going to create a new sheet that will be my inventory or my stock. And for this, we're going to need product, input, output, and inventory or stock, if you like. For the product, given that we have so many references in my product list, what I suggest is just working with the input. So let's say we're going to just try the Rick and Morty just with L and S, that's it, 8 and 8. And then we're going to buy some Stranger Things for kids, 10, I think this is very popular. Then The Simpsons, Never Dies, so 5, and that's it. We're going to start with this and see how it goes. We're going to put any date. For now, it doesn't matter. I think the date in the beginning won't be so useful, but as time goes on and you want to do reports and everything, I think it will prove really, really useful. So I would put it in since the beginning. Okay, now that I have this in my inventory, I could play with my unique function. And we're going to do the unique references starting on A2 up to A. And that's it. we're going to bring only these 4. Again, I could have in my product reference 20, but if I've just bought only 4, then, well, I only need these 4. And actually in my output, I could do the same. Instead of being able to select from all my t-shirts, I should select only from the ones I bought. Unless you have a business where you have drop shipping and you can buy even if you don't have stock, but that's another different business. And then, well, you shouldn't even do inventory, because then your drop shipping company is the one that will do inventory. Okay, so we're going to change this data validation, not from products, but from input. I'm just going to change the name here because it's the same column. Input, save. And again, now I only have these 4 because these are the only 4 I've bought. So I'm going to copy this, Control C, then Control Shift down, edit, paste special, data validation, and now I have the same for all of them. It's kind of a conditional validation, but much easier. So now I can say that I sold one of these, one of these, one of these, and one of these. Again, date for now doesn't matter. Now I'm just going to add up how many I've bought and how many I've sold. This I do it with a sum if. Again, this is the same we did in our basic inventory system. So if you follow up that video, then you won't find anything new here. I'm going to sum if with what condition? With the product ID condition, comma, which product ID? This one. Sorry, this one. And finally, what am I going to add? And I'm going to add the quantity. That's it. Close. And I can drag this down. So let's fix this now because I'm going to copy this to the other one. So I'm going to wrap this up in an if function. I'm going to say that if the cell A2 is empty, then we can leave this empty like this. Okay, if not, we're going to do the sum if. Why did I do that? Because when I drag this down, then I'm going to have this empty. So it looks really nice. Okay, I'm going to delete this now for the moment. Then I'm going to drag everything down. I have this here. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it here. Given that my input and my output have the same column structure and the same column order, so I could do this and copy it. But if it has changed in your table, in your system, then you should do it from scratch. So here, the only thing I'm going to change is that instead of input here, I'm going to put output. I could do this with a search and replace, but given that it's only 2, I'm going to do it manually. Output. Here I have that I bought 8 and I sold 1. And finally, my stock, I'm going to subtract 8 from 1. But again, I have to do this first part, this if. So I'm going to put this if here and close it. Just hitting enter, it will automatically close my parentheses, but I'm going to delete this extra equal sign. That's it. And now I can do Control C, Control Shift down, and Control V. Now I have my formula expanded to all of my possible rows. Now, final touches. We're going to put this another color, purple. I don't know anything about design, so you'll excuse me. And then I'm going to delete all these columns so we can hide this sheet for now. And this is it. We have our first draft of our inventory system for clothing stores or any business where you're going to buy and sell products that will have multiple references. T-shirts, mugs, books where you may have hardcover, softcover, digital, I don't know. There may be 1,000 other examples I'm not thinking of right now. So just try it out. Tell me what you think, and we can do a second part, adding more things. Of course, the main things we haven't added is the cost and the price. We could add this in a second part. But I think this can work for now. We could add also some conditional formatting, some alerts, and much more in the future. But for now, I think it's a nice start. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you like it. And if you like it, I hope you consider subscribing to the channel or even further going to my webpage, Practical Sheets, where you'll find an academy of Google Sheets, Google Apps Script, and all the subjects we discuss in the video. Thanks again and see you next time.